G'day and a big welcome back to the channel, especially to my Australian audience. This video is for you, and at the moment it's coffee o'clock. It's lunchtime. I've been out here all morning and I'm just having a break for my lunch and my coffee's gone cold already. So I thought I would make a video because I want to talk about the upcoming hobby tax that's going to affect you guys in Australia. And I'm sure most of you will know, but as of the middle of the year, going to be some dramatic changes to the Australian drone or RPAS or model aircraft rules that will affect everybody except those who fly the little sub 250s. Okay, the biggest thing that I've seen in this tax, which I find totally unfathomable, is that you're going to have to register all your model aircraft and any drones that weigh more than 250 grams. And from what I've seen, now I could be wrong, I haven't actually seen the official CASA documents on this. I've been working on news media reports, and as we know, that's terribly dangerous in this era of fake news. But it appears that you're going to have to pay $20 per model or per drone to register them. That could be an annual fee of $20 each. That's a lot of money. If you're like me and you've got 40, 50 models, it could bankrupt you. 40 models, $20 each, that's $800 if it's annual, $800 a year. Seriously? That is a hobby tax. Nothing but a hobby tax. And let's look at how this is supposed to work. The goal of this is obviously to stop people flying drones in the wrong places and endangering public safety. But take the average, not the average, I mean, most drone operators, most people with Mavics and Phantoms and whatever, they're pretty reasonable, sensible, responsible people. If they weren't, we'd have far more troubles than we have now. Remember, there are far more drone operators in Australia than there are pilots. Yet, there are more incidents involving full-size aircraft than there are involving drones. So, the drone community, on a percentage basis, is far more responsible, far safer in what they do than the manned aviation community. It's the same in New Zealand, right? So what they're trying to do is to control that rogue element within the drone community to stop them doing bad things like flying drones at airports and things like that. Okay, fair enough. That's a laudable goal. But the way they're going about it just shows that they do not understand the nature of the problem. And let's examine it. If there is this $20 a year hobby tax per model, then, as I say, the rogue drone operator, they're not going to register. They don't want to appear on a radar. They say, oh, blow that. I only fly my drone once a year when I want to go down to Sydney Airport and get some pictures of the A320s coming and going. I'm not going to pay $20 a year for that. No. So they won't register. So they're not going to be in the registration database. However, people like myself and others who have been in the hobby for a long time and have got a large collection of models, they're going to be effectively fined every year for being responsible members of the aeromodelling hobby. How does that work, CASA? How does it work that you punish the innocent for the sins of the guilty, but then don't punish the guilty? I mean, seriously, what's wrong with you people? How they expect to get any compliance on this beggars belief. But I guess most Australians, despite being convicts, there was a land built on convicts. I can say that because I'm Australian too, you know. Despite the convict heritage of Australians, they're basically honest people, honestly law-abiding people. So a lot of people will follow the rules and pay their money and suffer the financial penalty of being a model flyer for no reason other than some idiots in power have decided this will fix the problem, at least the problem we think we've got, which isn't actually the problem we have at all. So we have the situation where the hobby tax comes into effect, and it's going to cost, the more you're a mainstream modeler, the more it's going to cost you to stay in the hobby. And the more likely you are to be a rogue element, the less it's going to cost you. That's going to work so very well, doesn't it? But there's another aspect that I hate about the Australian, or the new rules that come in, and that is, we don't want no damn kids in the hobby. Kid, get off my lawn. This is the kind of attitude that CASA seems to have adopted, because they're saying if you're under 16, you cannot fly anything over 250 grams, radio control model over 250 grams. You can't. I don't care if you got a Mavic Air for Christmas. You're not allowed to fly that until you're 16 years of age. Seriously? I mean, the eye-hand coordination of most of these little kids is way better than the 60-plus-year-olds that made these rules up. But the thing is, it's going to kill I've already done a video complaining about the death of the hobby because it's greying out. There's no new blood coming through because there are impediments to people getting into the hobby in terms of regulation and cost and things. And it's going to be much worse in Australia because when little Johnny, who's 7, 8 or 9 years old, starts taking an interest in radio controlled models, if he's And it's quite often the case these days. You might be a child in a solo parent family. Mum might be out there working 2 jobs just to keep a roof over his head. She doesn't have time to learn what she needs to know and then sit the CASA online test to become a certified drone flyer, because that's what she'd have to do if she wants to supervise them, because it's not just that you have to be supervised by someone 18 or over if you're under 16. That person has to have actually got the necessary certification from CASA to show that they know what they're doing. So it's lunacy. It penalises, again, the innocent. Kids are not the problem. They're not the ones flying drones at bloody international airports. But you're penalising them. You're saying, no, you cannot partake in this hobby. If you are unfortunate enough not to have an adult who is qualified and can supervise you, you can't play. Honestly, boy, it makes me fume. Anyway, enough of my thoughts, because this video isn't about my thoughts. This video is because I want to hear your thoughts. Now, what I plan to do here is I plan to canvass all the Australian model flyers and drone owners and operators to get some important information from you guys. I'm going to take that to CASA and I'm going to get their responses. I'm going to bring it back to you, because individually you don't have any clout at all. Let's face it, CASA did a consultation. I pointed everyone to that consultation, said, go and have your say, and CASA roundly ignored it. I suspect what they did was they took all those responses, printed them out, screwed the paper up, put it in a waste paper bin, lit it, and cooked sausages with it. That's how useful that feedback was, because it doesn't seem to have changed their plans one bit. But that's to be expected, because I don't even think this is CASA's fault. I think this is the politicians. At the moment we have, CASA, like most regulators, is a puppet of the politicians. The politicians say, do this, and CASA says, yes, sir, because they're employed by the politicians. They pay their wages and keep their coffee cups full. You've got to do what your boss tells you. So when the politicians see all this stuff on the news, a drone brought down a microlight plane being flown by a veteran reporter in New Zealand, my goodness, they're so dangerous. What? Drones closed Gatwick Airport for nearly 3 days? Oh my goodness. When they see all this fake news, they build up a picture in their minds. Drones are dangerous. Drones are dangerous. We can't let kids play with these things. We can't let old men who have a garage full of these things get away without a stiff annual fine. You know, this is the mentality of the politicians. Remember, most politicians only qualified for the job because someone dropped them on the head at an early age. You know, it's a brain injury. Being a politician is a handicap. It shows that you just don't have what it takes to get a real job. This is my honest opinion, and borne out by years of experience and observation. So these politicians, they sway with the wind. You know, if someone comes to them in their constituency and says, I don't like these drones, well, ching ching, thank you, madam. I don't like them either, because you vote for me and I'll not like drones on your behalf. That's what happens. It's lunacy. It's the way the system is built. So the regulators are at the mercy of the politicians. The politicians are at the mercy of the media, and the media has decided that we don't want no stinking drones, except perhaps our own, so we can get really good aerial shots of accident scenes and things. But no amateurs allowed. Get out of here. And of course, remember, we do have also the commercial interests, the Amazons, the Pizza Huts, all the people want to do drone deliveries. Google in Australia is doing a lot of their trials there. Google will be saying, no, stronger regulation required. We don't want to have to deal with bloody drones in our airspace at 300 feet. So all these things have compounded. And is it just coincidence? Is it just coincidence that Australia's drone rules have gone from being the best in the world to some of the worst in the world as Google ramps up its testing of drones and drone delivery? I don't know. I'm not going to join those dots, but I'm sure a lot of people will. Anyway, back to the reason for this video. I get sidetracked so easily when I'm doing this. Okay, I want you and everybody else in Australia that flies drones or has model aircraft is going to be affected by these rules to put a comment on this video. I want to know, if you could speak to CASA, what's the one thing you'd say to them? If you were sitting there in front of all the CASA people and all the politicians and you had a minute to say something, what would you say? And I will get all those comments together, and if there's a common thread, I will put that into a single submission. And if there's something I think is really, really interesting and useful, I'll put that into the submission as well. I will go to CASA with all these comments, and I will basically summarize and paraphrase some of them, and I will put your comments to CASA. I will put them to CASA. You don't have the time, you probably don't have the necessary clout to do that, but I'm hoping that I will, because CASA have acknowledged my efforts in the past, and I hope they will still acknowledge what I'm doing to try and make this whole world a safer place in the era of evil baby-killing drones. So I'm hoping I will be able to get in the door and speak to CASA and put your points of view to them. And then I want you to put one question that you would ask CASA. So we want a statement you'd like to give to CASA, and then a question. If you could ask them one question, what would it be? Put it in the comments. And then I would like you to tell me, firstly, what you believe is the best element of the new regulations, and secondly, what you believe is the worst element of the new regulations. That's 4 things you've got to put in your comment. And I will, as I say, collate all this information, give it to CASA with my diplomat's hat on, which I haven't used for 435 years because I'm not very diplomatic. But I will be diplomatic, I promise you, in this instance, because we need to get a positive outcome. So I will present all this stuff to CASA, so you don't have to give your name, and you won't be connected. It's just, this is on behalf of the model flying and drone community in Australia. I want to make a representation to CASA, and I want, not just talking at them, I want to get their point of view as well. Obviously, they have been pushed into this. I'm not going to say CASA came up with these rules, because I don't think they did. I think they were pushed by political pressures. They're not going to admit that, of course, because that would be narking on your boss. But I want them to come back and tell us, justify some of the things that they have put in these regulations. Why does everyone need to register their models and their drones when, for example, Canada spent tens of millions of dollars doing a registration database for firearms, and then they scrapped it because they realized that it was serving no purpose. It didn't solve crimes, it didn't prevent crimes, it just was a financial burden on the firearms owners and on the government. And that's what this registry will be on the Australian government. Yep, it'll be a financial burden on everybody. And for example, nowhere in the world that I'm aware of has a drone registration database prevented something bad happening or solved an incident. So the CASA will have to justify what they're doing here. And if they can't justify it, then it points to huge amount of political pressure behind the scenes making this happen. Then you Australians, next time you're voting, you know what to do. Change the government. If the government isn't doing what you want, because that's what they're elected to do, change them. Get someone else in there, someone who knows what they're doing, someone who isn't old and withered. That's what you need to do. Anyway, I won't get political. I've got my diplomat's hat on. I'm non-partisan in this. Maybe. So that's what I'd like you to do. Now, in order for this to work, we've got to get a lot of comments in on this video, because when I go to CASA, I want to say, look, I did a video and it got X thousands of views, and I got X thousands or tens of thousands of comments from Australians who have drones or fly radio-controlled models. So I'm speaking not with one voice, but with the voice of thousands. So it would be a good idea to listen to me so you have a better insight into how your regulations are going to be received, and the things that concern people and the things that they agree with. And I'm sure that we can arrange this dialogue with CASA if I've got the weight of numbers. If I just roll up and said, I did a video on YouTube, 3 people saw it, and one person said, what the hell's this all about? They're going to close the door in my face. So I need you guys, go out on your social media, whatever you use, whether it's Bookface, Twittergram or Tinkle, whatever, I don't know, whatever the social media of your choice is, put a link to this video and tell your friends, tell your fellow club members, tell everyone you know who's got a drone or flies model aircraft. You need to go and have a say on this so that Mr. Simpson, the diplomat, can go to CASA and argue your case if you think this isn't right. But again, I have to say, I've been speaking from my perspective, the way I see this. I could be totally wrong. I may be misrepresenting what you guys think. You Australians, you need to tell us what you think, because the comments section may be full of comments such as, I think the registration is a wonderful idea and I think $20 is too cheap. I'm going to pay $30 and I'm going to pay it every month for every model I've got because it's such a fantastic idea. And I also think that 16 is too young. I think you should have to be 50 before you're allowed to fly these things without supervision. I don't know. That's why I'm doing the video. I want to know what you guys think, because I'm not going to tell CASA what I think. I'm going to tell them what you think, because that's the important thing. I'm not even in Australia, so what I think doesn't matter a bean. It's what you guys think. But, as I said, to carry weight, need the numbers, need the comments, need the views, so that I can take this video and show CASA what I did and say, and this is the outcome. Now, CASA, let's deal with it. What do you think? Good idea or not? Put your answer in the comments, along with the 4 other things I requested. There you go. Now, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, what are you wasting your time watching it for? I despair. I see all my videos get at least 1 thumbs down within a few minutes. So that's one guy that just hates me and goes, oh, thumbs down. Why are you watching if you're going to do that all the time? I don't care. It doesn't worry me. But it does show engagement, so it's all good for the bottom line. Yeah, and if you want to support the channel, if you want me to go into bat for you, and if you want me to continue doing things like this to help protect the hobby and promote the hobby, then there's some links in the description you can use, and when you see the links, you'll know what to do if you want to. No pressure. It's up to you. I don't, it doesn't make any difference. I'm not going to complain if you don't. I'm just happy when people do. And that's it. If you're not a subscriber, then subscribe, because you get all sorts of weird and wonderful content, not all just talking head, bobblehead videos like this. There's other stuff as well. Go and have a look through the back catalogue. See what I've done before. You might like it. Anyway, that's it. It's past lunchtime. It's almost afternoon tea time now. Well, I better get going. Thanks for watching, guys. See you again soon. Bye for now.